Elite shithouser is probably not the words I'd use to describe things, but how you doing, mate? How you feeling?
I'm doing
I
all right for a
feel
Sunday, to be fair. I was not well for the weekend there, but I'm okay now. Seem to
I
be
feel
at
pretty
the all
deflated
right end
still.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, don't you feel like we lost the game?
I kind of do. Yeah. When it happened, I was sitting on the couch and my hands just went to my eyes like that, and I was just like, "What's just happened there?"
I couldn't
Um.
believe it.
Yeah.
What?
I couldn't understand what happened at all until you see a few clips and you're kind of like,
Mm,
ah, right, okay. But we'll get
it,
into
it
that in a while.
it felt like we were hanging on a bit at the end, but we'd done it. We were there. We'd gone
Mm.
there. We'd gone behind. We'd come from behind. We'd got the 3 points. It were in the bag. We'd gone beyond the added time. It was the last kick of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, what happened there? Did he switch off? Did the ball bounce weird? Did something happen? I don't.
Um, well, there's I don't know. You can see from different angles and whatnot, but there was people saying that it got a deflection off Firpo and put a spin on the ball, and then there's other
Mm,
people that are saying there was a strap that it hit and took a diversion away from him, and some people are saying he wasn't even looking at the ball, um, which I think is just picking at absolute shite, really. There, to be fair,
it
um,
is.
but it's a difficult one, like because for the first 15 or 20 minutes, we were nowhere near that game.
No,
Um, we
it
didn't
looked
even
like it
look
was going
like
to be
we
a
were.
long night, didn't it? At first.
Yeah, it looked very much like last season when we went to the Stadium of Light, where it was just complete chaos. But I think this time we kind of settled in. It's a shame it's taken us to go a goal behind before we start kicking into gear lately. But it seems to
Yeah,
absolutely put a boot in our arse, and we seem to get going. But it's um it's a difficult one to take because, like you said there a second ago, it feels like we've got a loss, even though we've got a point. And look, how many people were saying they'd be happy to take a point on
I
Friday
know.
night?
But it's the
And
context, isn't it? It's like
it
what Steve
is,
Brown said in the comments here. He said, agreed, Jay would have taken the draw before the game kicked off,
mm,
but the nature of the equaliser made it feel like a loss. Like,
yeah,
on paper beforehand, what you're saying is right. Would have all probably been, that's a decent result there.
yeah.
But to see that play out,
Yeah, it's a hard one to take because of the circumstances of which, like, they got their draw. But the one thing we can sort of take away from it is not being a happy clapper or trying to be, super positive or any of that kind of crack. I think the midfield held up quite well of Tanaka and Rothwell. I know Gilly won't
mm.
like to hear the Rothwell praise at all,
You're not
but
allowed to praise Rothwell, okay? He's shit.
yeah, well, like hopefully Gilly's on his way to pick his dad up for his birthday. So happy birthday, Gilly's dad. Anyway, so Gilly will probably
And
hear
he won't
this
see this
later.
till later. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So he'll be all right then. His belly will be full and he'll have a few drinks down him, so he'll be all
That's it. He'll
right.
be passed out, won't he, later?
Yeah. Be sound.
The way it should be.
But I think they held up very well. Took them, took them a while to get going as well as the whole team in general. But once they did, I thought they started clicking very well. One thing that I liked about Rothwell, his passes hit a player every time. He
Mm.
fizzes passes into players, makes sure they get to their
He can pick a
destination.
ball.
Man,
Like we've
honest
seen
to
him on the
God,
corners and stuff. He's good at stuff
mm,
like that, isn't
yeah. Well, like I hadn't seen much of him prior to that. Really, I don't think anyone had, bar his games at Southampton. But
he? Mm.
we didn't really take much heed there either. But yeah, I'm very much when I'd be coaching, I'd be very much make your teammate work for that touch in training. You do it, and you're like make them work for it. Like
Yeah.
fizz it into them, make sure the pass gets there. And I like that he's very much of that ilk where he has the trust in his players or the players around him to be able to
Mm.
receive the ball if it is fizzed into them.
Yeah.
I thought Tanaka was very tidy. Didn't panic on the ball. There was maybe one or two instances in the first 20 minutes where he kind of, like I said, the midfield took a while to get into the game, but once he
Mm.
settled into it, I thought Tanaka was very good as well.
Yeah. It's
And to
clear
say,
he's going to be doing the Ampadu role, isn't it? He's not going to be getting forward so much while he's in that
mm,
position.
yeah, it is like that as well, and it's from panic stations a week ago to right, okay, this could actually be okay, and if this is the kind of best that we're coming up against with our weakest let's be honest, our weakest
Our
midfield
second choice
too.
midfield, yeah.
Yeah, if this is the best kind of standard we're going to come up against, it even though the goal, the equaliser happened the way it happened, that's a freak kind of thing, you know. It's like the
Yeah,
beach ball
we
one for
effectively beat top of the league, didn't we?
yeah. So it's like the
Effectively.
beach ball
Just not
one, you
on
know.
paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one of those freak ones, like and like I said, if this is the best we're going to come up against, then I I I've gotten over the calamity of the equalizer, and I've kind of looked at it a bit logically and thought, you know, like this is not going to be as difficult as it was last year, because the teams that are down this year are nowhere near as strong as the ones that were down the year before. And I'm not saying we're going to walk the league by any means. Don't get me wrong. I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm just saying it's given me a new kind of look on things. The fact that that's potentially the best we're coming up against.
I'm quite worried by how often we've slipped, and if we keep slipping, we're not going to win the league. But on the other hand, it was the first game that midfield started together. As we said, we effectively won the game. If it weren't for that clanger at the end, you know.
Yeah.
So it's hard to be upset about the overall performance. Like, to see us having been under the cosh like that away from home and to wrestle control of the game back after going one down, for me, says a lot about the spirit of that team and what's in it.
Yeah, that's exactly my point as well, Jay. It's like we panicked, and rightly so. Rightly so, I think we panicked when it came to losing Gruev and Ampadu. But like I said as well, I just don't think there's an awful lot in this league if that's the kind of best we're coming up against. That's just the way I'm looking at it now at the moment. And I think everyone just needed the weekend to kind of take stock of what had happened and realise, I think, that it's not going to be 90 plus points to win it. Like I said to Luke, we've a bet on it for charity. I said 80 to 84 points wins the league this year for me.
You could well be right. I don't think there's going to be a team steaming away, is there?
No, I don't think so.
It just looks so much more of an even spread across the division this year.
Yeah, well, like this time last year, Leicester were nearly out of sight as well. You know, Leicester and Ipswich are kind of, they were going for it already. You know, so it's the weekend. Taking the weekend has it's kind of made me look at it differently and kind of think, yeah, you know what, it's a blip in the road, and you just need to kind of get behind the lads now again.
Well, speaking of looking at it differently, we've got somebody a bit different to come in. Our guest, Matt. I mean that in the nicest possible way, Matt.
Thanks.
Welcome. How's it going, mate?
All right.
You sound like I felt Friday night. You've not got over it yet, have you?
For me, it's like, I don't know. I have this feel every time we make a mistake, I think more of like, oh, Twitter's going to be like terrible. And like, oh, some of the things I've seen about Melier, like, I mean, they've done it, people have done it again, of course, because we have those type of fans on Twitter. You know, like
Smarty's not happy.
Like Bamford a couple of years ago, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like death threats.
Smarty says it definitely did hit something on the floor, but the shit baguette eating dickhead should have dealt with it. Can't speak. Weekend ruined before it begun. All Leeds that way.
Yeah.
That's the spirit, Smarty. Get him told.
Yeah. That's the one.
Go on, Matt. Sorry.
The bounce just. That only happens to us. That only happens to us. Like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, before, like when the game was going on and that was about to come out, it was about to be a great like tactical manager masterclass, and then that goes in, and all of a sudden people want Fark out.
Yeah.
Like,
I bet Farker was sat on bench thinking, "You bastard." Do you know the Twitter thing as well, Matt? Do you think it were worse because everyone saw Melier smiling and laughing with their manager?
Probably, but I mean, if
you coached him, didn't they?
I think so, yeah. But if I was a professional player and I make a mistake, you laugh at it. It's like, you can't. What, you're going to be upset? You're going to be like, I mean, you're upset, but you're not going to be like.
you're not going to stand there and sob in front of 40,000 people, are you?
No.
No.
You're going to be a bit like, shit, I want the ground to swallow me up, and you're not going to really know what to do with yourself, are you? You're going to feel like a dickhead. You're going to be like, oh, shit. You know, it's not a nice position to be in.
What about Firpo's reaction?
I've forgotten what happened now. Did
He
he
just
just
walks
kick off?
Yeah, he just walked. I don't even think he went over to clap the fans or anything. He just kind of just.
Oh, no.
He kind of threw the toys out the pram and just walked off the pitch. I'm like, you got to
I like that, though. I like that
think
because it means he gives a shit and he's upset.
as a team, you got to be there as a team, in my opinion. When a keeper makes a mistake like that, especially when the ball came off your head as well. I know it's not his fault at all, but he was, you know.
But
I mean,
do you think is that why he stormed off down the tunnel and not because he was annoyed at Meslier for messing up the goal? Do you think it was a case that he felt that, well, I had some involvement of that, I needed to get a better header on that, I needed to get a better touch on that, and maybe he was more pissed off at himself as he was off down the tunnel than he was with the fact that the equaliser went in? Because we've seen now, Jay, you'll be able to show it later, it's clearly clipped something in front of Meslier on the bounce. There's plenty of angles of it now that you can see the change in direction of the ball, and sometimes that just happens. Like I said earlier, beach ball moment for Liverpool.
Shall we have it now?
Sunderland.
Shall we have it now, since we're talking
Yeah,
about it?
go on. Stick it up there and sure, we'll have a look.
Let's do this. I may have to do some jiggery pokery here.
Ah, right.
Can you see it okay?
Yeah, just make it big there. There you go.
It's, from that angle, it's even worse. It's just...
I mean, I look at that free kick in general. There's just a bunch of mistakes. Like the first ones, everyone just leaves and lets them win the header. Like no one's aggressive to the ball. But
that's what I mean about Firpo storming down the tunnel. That could have been something going through his head. Why didn't I do more with it? Why didn't I just try and drop back a yard or two and look at the man in front of me? You know, we don't know what the story is with Firpo bombing it down the tunnel.
Yeah,
he could have been pissed off at Mez. He could have been pissed off with his own performance and how that ended up. You know, so I think people jump to conclusions that Firpo is automatically annoyed with Meslier is something that we kind of need to take stock of, because it could have been something to do with his own level of performance in that particular situation. So it's
Lee Fryer says Firpo wanted to 2-foot Meslier in the chest like the monk in Mean Machine.
Yeah.
I mean,
Smarty's going in on him as well. Very happy with Firpo's reaction. Thought Meslier got the biggest bollocking when he got back in the change room. I'm all for get behind the team, but he needs telling. Then we can crack on. That's it. Deal with it and move on.
Yeah, we just saw there as well, like that. It's clearly clipped something before as it's bounced in front of him. So you kind of swings and roundabouts for me, really.
I think Tim Flowers in it with the divot.
Yeah, against Leeds. You know what I mean? And
I'll be too young to remember that.
Yeah,
that makes me feel old.
that was at Ewood Park, wasn't it?
Got down, didn't he? Routine roll into his arms. It just went over his shoulder.
And it wasn't like the pitches were terrible back then either, like, you know what I mean? But these things happen, and I think it's going to be a testament to Farke as to how he picks Meslier up after this now. He's not going to drop him.
Not for Darlow. People wanting Darlow to start. I mean, do people remember when he started?
Yeah,
like
I've tried to forget.
Yeah, like there was the game last year at who was it?
Was it the cup? It
Salford.
Was Salford.
Where
the pens.
Two of them just went through his hands. You know what I mean? And it was just it can't be Darlow again. I think I think I might have mentioned it on the main pod during the week as well. It's like Queeveen Kelleher. I know Bryn's going to be in there saying I'm saying Queefer or Kiefer or whatever the hell it is, just because he can't understand it. But I think in January we go for him.
Is that the Liverpool keeper? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's injured.
Is he injured at the moment?
Because Allison went off this weekend, and the other guy came on. I don't know what his name was. I
did notice that. I didn't know if Queeveen was injured or what the crack was. There you go.
Princess Queef.
But I'd be going full on to try and get him. He's mad for first team football. limited form at Liverpool, and maybe that would be the competition that Meslier need.
Oh man, this is a comment from Russ here.
Yeah.
How's it going, Russ? He says, I believe the thing it hit was part of the water sprinkler that was left on the ground by the ground staff. I mean,
He picked
that's
something
pretty
up.
bad if that's the case.
He bent down and picked something up, and I think there was a picture of. So I don't know what it was, but I don't know if that was then or before, or like it was just a picture. So I don't know if that. But
He does point his hand, doesn't he? Immediately after it happens, and he says something. He points at the ground.
People were trying to say it was from the Leeds medical staff bag when they went on to do his head injury, but that was over the other side. That was over the other side of the 6
Maybe that's the real reason he didn't catch it, because he was concussed to fuck and he didn't know where he was.
Perhaps, but
he did take a hell of a whack.
Yeah,
he did. Slow motion, like he got a full leg to the side of the head, didn't he? Yeah.
Well, it's the thing with keepers is you can't have. I think they should bring in something like a blood sub for keepers, because a concussed player can go off for, up to 4 or 5 minutes to make sure they're okay. But a keeper is literally straight back in there. Maybe it should be a case that a blood sub or a concussion sub for the keeper until they feel he's all right to go back on should be a thing as well.
Can you imagine that? Be like, all right, Karl, on you go, get your appearance money. We only need you for 5 minutes.
I'd be down with that.
I'd be cool with that. I'd be like,
I mean, in that game again, we didn't take our chances again. I mean, the one that annoys me is it was given a free kick somehow, but the one where Aronson steals it off Firpo, their player took out the keeper, but they got a free kick.
I had a note on this one about a goal mouth scramble, ball taken off Firpo's toe, and the ref ends up giving a foul, and the commentators didn't even know what he'd given it for. Nothing happened.
Yeah, their player took out their keeper, but they got the free kick.
But that's their problem. You know what I mean?
So what if it went in the back of the net?
Exactly.
What if that was a goal? Oh.
But yeah, as you see with us, when Harry Kane scores and our keeper's been taken out and bundled into the back of the goal by an opposition player, it don't matter then.
No,
but then the next season, the next season when Bamford shouldered what's her name against Arsenal, it was a foul.
Yeah, exactly. It's just crazy, isn't it? Officiating's crap at all levels, is what I've concluded so far this season, and we seem to keep getting terrible refs. I don't think that guy was terrible actually this week. I think he was probably a bit better than some of the ones we've had, but it wasn't amazing.
Way better than the Norwich one. That was.
Oh god, yeah.
That would have been hard now, to be fair.
The Norwich guy just set out to book us and disrupt us at every opportunity, didn't he?
Yeah.
We keep getting that, and it's making life harder for us. We're up against these refs, plus we're having these little slip-ups ourselves, and it's just all sort of coming together to hold us back a bit at the moment, and it's stopping us getting momentum going.
It is, but at the same time, if you're playing against the ref majority of games over the course of a season, it's up to you to do things better and put your chances away, like Matt was saying there. Like, I was just looking at the stats, and going off like the first half and all that, you'd expected us to, have more ball possession overall, but it was only 48% to 52% to us. And I thought we had definitely more shots on target than they had, but it was 4 shots on target each. Yeah, which is weird considering how dominant we were in that second half. So it's kind of like, how do you take those stats and turn them into a positive when you're like, right, we've looked like we've dominated, we actually haven't dominated. Our expected goal was 2.32 to their 1.82.
We need Gilly's graph here, don't we?
Yeah. That's the thing. I'm doing these because Gilly isn't here, so.
I mean, they were the best team. They were the best team we played this season.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, them or Burnley.
I think they were the first team to actually have like a good possession stat against us. It was like 49-51.
In fact, I wouldn't.
I
didn't think Burnley were great.
I wouldn't go as far as saying Burnley were a good side that day.
No, that's what I'm saying.
They didn't create anything. I don't think really they were. Bar their.
So we dominated that game.
Yeah.
Norwich were good against us for the most part.
Yeah,
you're probably right. They probably are the best.
West Brom weren't great.
No,
when we played them at their place.
That comes back to what you were saying at the top, Karl, about like it's not going to be a runaway team, is it, this year?
Well, hopefully, if we can actually get our act together, the runaway team will be ourselves. Like, I just sometimes you look at it and you're like, the potential is there to really absolutely steamroll teams. But again, like I said, it took us to go a goal behind before we actually started having a go at them. Like,
I mean,
Yeah.
they were brilliant. The first 10 minutes, I thought we were going to get battered. They were all
Yeah.
over us.
Yeah.
that's
they
why I
were.
thought it was going to be very much a repeat of last year when we went there and didn't know what our squad was or anything like that. And it turns out that we were probably in a better position this year, even though we had two midfielders that were only starting together for the first time.
Yeah.
It's
And
a
when you
weird
think
one.
about that, it's a good performance, isn't it, really, to say that we effectively won the game. The midfield had started the first game together. And sort of first 10 minutes, Matt, I was like, shit, like you say, because they were down the wings and they were just getting into the box and they were banging crosses across. We weren't dealing with them. And their first goal actually comes from one of those crosses. And Melia does make a good save initially in that sequence. But then the rebound, there's just no one there to collect it. And there's the Sunderland player waiting.
Does that just seem like that's us? Like we're always slow to the rebounds.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've been a lot better at getting to the second balls recently. Something that, I don't know, is it just me kind of picking up on stupid things or whatever, but when we're challenging for the ball, from, say, goal kicks or free kicks from the centre-back or whatever the case may be, it seems like we're putting in minimal effort to win it and rather have players around to get the breaking ball, to pick up the breaking ball, rather than, hoping that we get a touch on it somewhere along the lines. I think it's more a case of challenge for it. If you win it, good and well. If you don't, we have players around to pick up the second ball. It just seems like we're doing that a little bit better, which I think is kind of key in the sense that we don't have many tall players from centre back upwards, like.
No.
And to be able to kind of look at it and be going, right, okay, just try and win the header. Even if you don't, whatever the break is, we're going to have players within about 10, 12 yards of the breaking ball, and that's what we need to do.
Who is our tallest outfield player?
I think it's Strike, isn't it?
Strike?
I'd imagine it's
It probably is, yeah. The problem is you can't head it or a ball to the right way.
Currently, anyway.
How tall's Rodon? How tall's Rodon? Is he like 5'10" or something? 5'11", or is he shorter than that?
I don't know. It doesn't give their height on FootMob. That's something.
I bet Russ knows. Russ will be in comments. He'll tell us. He'll know these things.
Russ is all over that stuff, man.
So when they scored that goal, we were well on the back foot at that point, and I thought, oh god,
90 centimeters.
Oh god, this is it. We're going to get dicked here. But then, sort of 10, 11 minutes later, we're back up there. We're scoring an equaliser, and there were a lot of talk about Pirro starting, but he scored a goal. Manager got that right, Karl?
Yeah, I think so. It's a lot to put on Joseph's shoulders to be the number 9 at such a prolific club for his first kind of major role. But I can see why Fark continued to play him, because his output in terms of closing down, holding the ball up, bringing players into play. Granted, it's a bit hairy-fairy here and there. It's not as consistent as you'd potentially like it to be, but it's more consistent than what.
There you go. Rodon's 6'4". I knew Russell.
It's more. I've lost my train of thought there now.
Sorry, mate.
Basically, to have Joseph on there, it's a lot. But I was worried when I saw Pirro starting last night, because I thought that was the press gone to the extent that Joseph will do it. But he seemed to get around quite a bit. Seemed to be putting in the hard yards for his time on the pitch. So it was a justified decision from Fark, really, and
got it right for me, that one.
I think so, yeah. So it gives him a bit of a headache now between now and the comeback from the international break as to who to start, because he's no games in between to judge now. It's just training, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. It's good to take a young player like Joseph out now and again as well, if there's an opportunity and it's not necessarily all going his way, or you're playing 3 games in a week and you want to rest him a little bit and not ruin him, you know what I mean? So it's kind of, I guess from a management point of view, it's a good opportunity for Farker, because you can just turn around and say, well, it's been 3 games in a week. I think you could benefit from a little rest because you've played all of them. And it's not going to feel as harsh as I'm putting Joel in instead because you've not scored. There's a nicer way. It's an opportunity to use the situation and do a bit of man management in it and say, just going to take you out for this one. You've played 3 times in a week. I don't want to burn you out. And I think that's a good way to do it, don't you, Matt?
Yeah, I'm still a bit iffy on Pirro. I thought he played well, but he did get tired like the 60th minute, and Fuck doesn't make subs. Fuck doesn't make subs until the 75th minute, and like there was like 10, 15 minutes of Aronson having to do Pirro's job basically because he's tired. Because like those situations where I look at him and I'm like, because if we play a better team, they'll break through that, and then they'll have space in front.
Yeah, I mean, I thought his link-up play were better in this game than I've seen in other games that he's played. He didn't seem to play it to the opposition as often or just lose it or anything. He seemed to be quite mobile for Pirro. There was a bit where like he was under pressure and he managed to carry the ball past a couple of players and pick a pass, and I've not really seen him do much of that before. He normally will just sort of panic and try and pass it and lose it if he gets like surrounded or anything. Do you know what I mean, Karl?
Yeah, I get what you're saying there as well. But there's a comment come in here. Blazed Ray, speaking of Pirro being stoned, Blazed Ray. He said, you don't need to press championship defenders, lads. They are not Van de Ven. I think that's exactly why you should press championship defenders.
Yeah.
Exactly why, because you've made my point more hit home, Blazed Ray, if I'm honest, because if you press these championship players, they panic. And like he said then, further down the line, he came in with most championship defenders can head a ball at most. Why we are seemingly not challenging for the first ball and trying to pick up the second at the moment. Why we're trying to press these championship defenders is because they're not good with the ball at their feet. Like I get what he's saying. You can have the comfort of having Pirro on without having to press too much, but at the same time, if a 6'4" defender has the ball at his feet, that's the last place he wants it majority of the time.
Yeah,
like Blaze said there, he wants it on his head so he can get it away. But if you're pressing high and you're pressing hard on these defenders, we saw there yesterday, Aronson picked up 2 sloppy passes out from the back because centre back, full back was under pressure from the press. And that's why I think you should always press on these players, because they're going to panic. They're not as calm and collected on the ball as some people, some other centre back might be.
You've gone a bit robot.
And I just think press the life out of them. I think that's the way to kind of to get results, because you've got like the likes of Aronson is picking up balls off the press from Joseph recently as well, and Willie is pressing as well. I think it's just something that I feel we need to do to be able to progress further. It also eliminates them being able to provide a low block to keep us out, because if we win the ball back high up in their part of the pitch, that eliminates them being able to get back and stifle any kind of quick plays that we want to do, because they're closing down the lines quicker.
Yeah.
So by pressing, we've got players who will eventually catch up to the ball once the turnover is done. So I think pressing on them is probably one of the best tactics in this league to go at. Like,
I think so. I mean, for me as well, it's sort of, I felt like after we'd sort of got that goal, we took control of the game for me. And like you're saying about pressing the defenders and stuff, had they not conceded at home, or had they only conceded 1 at home?
They haven't conceded before us.
Yeah, and then we scored 2. So they're meant to be
goals. Let's talk about
standard
goals.
Currently. Yeah, they're meant to be the standard currently, top of the league. We got 2 good goals from open play.
Yeah.
Go on, Matt, what are you saying?
Pirro's was offside, but
so I was going to ask that. Do you think it was?
Yeah, he was offside. It looked offside.
For me, it was marginal if it was.
It was close. If VAR was there, it would be offside.
But the new rule about the feet being in line that's coming
they're not bringing. They're not.
It wouldn't be offside there, would it? They're changing the rule, aren't they, Karl? So it's going to be the defender's feet versus the attacker's feet that
Yeah, it's
determines
daylight.
whether they're onside or
Also-
offside.
also,
So the
you
player can be leaning forward while the defender's leaning back and not be offside, which has always been my gripe with it.
I
So
think
you can point where you want the ball now.
Pretty
yeah,
much, yeah.
essentially, yeah.
It's the Arsene Wenger rule, isn't it, Karl?
I don't know. I quite like it. I think
He's brought it in, I think.
Yeah, he pitched it to UEFA, and they're going with it in the Champions League. But the Premier League have put it off for another year because they don't want to look stupid with how they've handled fucking VAR.
Well, the Premier League are still figuring out how to use VAR under the current rules, aren't they? So they can't change yet.
Yeah, that's it exactly. But I think from growing up playing football, it was always the daylight rule. Always, there it is, ref. We're onside there. It's grand.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way it should be, because it was always kind of, when you're growing up, it was always the benefit of the doubt to the attacker rather than the defender.
That's right.
And I think that's the way it should go back to. Like, it was a simpler time. And I think a lot of VAR's kind of mess ups are, you could put portion of the blame on the referees because they're not taking a stance on their decisions. They're allowing too much to be rectified by VAR. Whereas they know that once they give a something, they can just basically they can't be overruled or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think another thing with it as well is, like, there should be like tennis. You get 3 calls throughout the game.
That you can challenge.
That's the only time
Yeah.
VAR should really be used, is when the player or the captain calls for a check.
Captain challenge.
Yeah.
We have that in the NRL over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get one a game, and then if you win it, you're successful. You keep it.
Yeah, I think that should be the way it goes when it comes to VAR, because for offside and dubious penalties, I think maybe, yeah, but not for fouls or like, let the ref the game.
I mean, what is a penalty these days? I mean, sometimes it has to be sometimes people get dragged on in the box and it's not a penalty, but that's anywhere on the pitch. Otherwise, it's a free kick.
Yeah. That's always been an issue, though, hasn't it, Karl? Like, we've been talking about that for probably 30 years now, haven't we?
Yeah.
Since the Premier League started, I think. And it's something they've tried numerous sort of initiatives, haven't they, to prevent that and say to refs, if it's a foul, it's a foul. You've got to give it, but it doesn't make any difference. I think they're too scared of affecting games and being hammered by big clubs.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Like, but at the same time, if you take away VAR in the morning, it's all on the ref, and then they get hammered again. And I think rightly so, because if you're doing your job badly, like we've seen a couple of times this season with refs in the Championship, you should get hammered for it. You should be looked at and just gone, well, you're getting demoted to League One now, because that's, quite frankly, that's ridiculous.
Do you think it's making refs worse, Matt? Like, when we get a ref who's had a bad Premier League game, they get sent down to our league for some reason.
They go back up a week. But then they come back up a week later, so they don't even get punished for it.
But what I mean is, you're getting guys from the Premier League who have VAR, then they come down to ref in the Championship, where they have to make calls that they maybe wouldn't have to make when they're reffing a Premier League game. And do you think that makes them rusty? Do you think that affects the judgment? Do they lose sharpness? I mean,
do you think in the Prem, they rely on VAR too much, like, to get them out of trouble? Like, they would, like, some things I've seen there. Like, I've seen sometimes they look at stuff that don't need to be looked at.
It's almost like they want VAR to do the job for them, and they're just like the figurehead out on the pitch.
Yeah, I think that's, unfortunately, that could be the way it's going, which is...
We got a comment ages ago, actually, from Ina. I starred it. Let me just bring it up. It's singing from your hymn sheet here, Karl.
Go on.
It says, the English refs are the worst in Europe, in my opinion. Never seen anything like it, to be fair.
Yeah.
And they are, aren't they?
They never ref the Champions League games. That's why.
No. Wasn't Anthony Taylor like the guy that used to get all the Champions League games?
Yeah. And
I'm thinking of someone else. Howard Webb, he got loads, didn't he?
Yeah. But just going back to the game anyway, because
we've gone off on a tangent.
We have to kind of, look after ourselves and make sure that when we're getting these our chances, we're putting them away. The way I look at it is, we need to be more aggressive from the get-go. There's games at home where you're looking at the clock after 17 minutes, still 0-0. It was like Pompey right?
Yeah.
4 times we hit the crossbar or the woodwork in the first 20 minutes, and I was just looking at the clock going, it's going to be one of them. And it bloody was. So we need to start taking our chances. I thought Firpo, again, he was absolutely class for, 92 minutes of that game until I'm going to throw it fucking at Firpo. Yeah, his touch.
Are you?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, here we go. Let's
His
get
touch,
started now.
His touch was part of the catalyst to what happened and them getting an equaliser. So maybe he should just own up. Maybe he should just own up if he hasn't already and just say, look, I knew I should have been 2 yards further back to get a better header on that. Do it that way. But his goal and the build up to the goal was lovely. Lovely play. I think it was between him and Nanto again.
Yeah, and Nanto passed it back to him, which were nice.
Yeah. Unlike goal scoring, unlike goal scoring in that, I mean, in general in football, like I feel like the modern game is too like pass it in. You don't really see anyone really take like a long range, like have an effort.
No. We've been saying that last couple of weeks on here. I think though that like Willie is like the only guy who seems to be
Ruev was taking shots.
Yeah, but he's gone now. He's persona non grata.
Jesus.
Rothwell likes to have a go. We just haven't seen much of him yet, but he's going to score a few in this run, I reckon. Rothwell.
I mean, I hope so. We still haven't scored a goal from a midfielder in the league.
Well, it's coming, mate. It's coming. But just on your point about Firpo there, Karl, where you're throwing him under the bus, he's scored a goal, it's finally happened, and you're just trashing the guy, not letting him have his moment. Russ said, people are having a go at Mez for the goal, but why is no one having a go at Bogle for giving that free kick away? And I was going to bring this up as a note on this.
Was it Bogle?
Yeah, it was. Bogle. No, Bogle booted the guy in the shin. He just swung his foot out and he booted him right in the shin, and the guy went down. Bogle got a yellow card. And it was just like, it were pointless. Now, it doesn't change the fact that that ball shouldn't have gone past the keeper. But if people want to start dishing blame about it, that's got to be looked at. It were a stupid foul. On the face of it, I get it. It was a breaking up play at the end of the game kind of foul. It was the kind of thing people do all the time.
Yeah.
But, just if you want to start being picky, there are various factors in there that you can point at. But for me, ultimately, it rests with Melier.
Yeah, there was a culmination of unfortunate events that led to the goal.
A perfect storm.
That's what we'll say. And look, sure, 2 weeks off now. Just forget about it. Leave. He's not going to drop Meslier, so we need to get that out of our heads. Not. He's not going to put in Darlow over Meslier.
No, there's a bit of talk in the comments about this, and I think everyone pretty much agrees, other than a couple of people saying Darlow played well for Wales, but it's an isolated game. He's not looked good when he's played for us. It's like saying Cody Drammy were player of the year somewhere.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, got
shit for us.
Cardiff. Absolute crap.
It's funny in my notes. I've got like various things about the game, and then at the bottom it says, "Then it happened. Fuck me sideways."
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how I felt. I think I shouted, "No!" at the TV.
Yeah, man.
I didn't say anything. I was lost for words.
It happened in slow motion. The way I was watching it, it was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh no. I was just like, what's happened there? I was like, what?
It was just unfathomable. And like, it's just.
We've lost Jay, have we? Because usually that's me, Matt. Oh, sound.
Am I back? It's going a bit crazy.
Your head is still in your hands there. Oh, you're back. How are you?
I mean, they didn't deserve it. Like, their fans were leaving the ground.
Yeah.
Like 2-1.
Imagine having left.
Yeah. Imagine.
Those people that missed that deserve to miss it.
They deserve their season tickets taken off them.
It's tin pot, that, innit? It's tin pot.
I never, like, when I go to sporting events, I never leave a game. Like, even if we're getting absolutely battered, I still don't leave.
Yeah.
You're top of the league. It's only 2-1. It's not over till it's over, is it?
And you're versing the best squad in the league. Like, you're not going to smash us.
I mean, they must have thought, oh, well, we fucked it here. Even though they've had a great season so far, it must be like PTSD, like what we Leeds fans get, where like a goal goes in against us and we all think, "Oh fuck this, let's go to the bar." You know what I mean? It's done, it's over. But that's one thing that I do like this season. Even when we are under the cosh, like we were, it's not over when we concede. Like
no,
his internet's gone again.
it just keeps dying on me. Don't know what's going on.
All right, start again there. What were you saying?
I was just saying there's been seasons sort of recently, hasn't there, where
he's gone again. This is usually me. This is great. So take Jay out and just let him sort out his internet there. So basically, in relation to the midfield, I've forgotten what Jay was talking about because we didn't really hear much of it. But in relation to the midfield, I saw a tweet saying that Clicky is a free agent on the 19th of October.
Bring him home.
Would you'd be
I'll take him.
You'd be on that boat, would you?
This might sound crazy. I think he could still do it in the Prem at a decent level off the bench. I mean, when he left, he was still playing well. I think honestly, if we kept him, I think we honestly could have stayed up. I think he had that quality off the bench to hit a goal when we needed it.
I think it's for me, it's kind of it's more of a thing like against Norwich, where Fark was, we heard reports that Fark was telling Rothwell to come on and get some control in the game, get a bit of calm in it, and all that kind of crack. I think the ideal person for that is Clicky. I
just want that shithouse back.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? But we were just sorry, Jay, you were just all over the shop there, and I didn't.
I'm back. I can't hear anything now, so this is going well.
Oh, sweet. We're just talking about Clicky anyway. How he's out of contract on the 19th of October, and how we could potentially take it. It's gone again, so I may as well just be talking to myself. So yeah, I'd take him back, regardless of.
We need him. We need a midfielder.
Yeah, and if we're going to be looking in the free agent market, then why not bring back the likes of someone that we know? We're looking at, Camera, is it, or
Camera?
From he played at Gladbach with Fark.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's 30. He's 32, 33. So if we're looking at a player like that, just bring Clicky back.
Just bring. He would come back in a heartbeat. To be honest, I think he wants to come back. To be honest.
Oh, that's the dude, the Kramer we're after.
Kramer, yeah.
But I don't think he's sold his flat in Harrogate either. So it's just an easy move for him, really, isn't it? I know it won't be the glitz and glamour of Washington DC, but he does love the club, and hopefully we could show him what for if he decided to come back. This comes in from Einar as well. Kramer is 33, so if we're looking in that bracket for an experienced chiseled kind of midfielder, I think you can't go wrong with Clicky.
Is the number 43 still available?
That's a good shout. You could get on the hunt.
Are you good?
If it allows me to do it. I'm good, man. I'm good.
I can hear you.
Are you sure you're all right now, Jay?
I don't know, mate. I'm on countryside internet. This is what happens.
No way.
I dropped out, came back in, and for some reason it disconnected the headphones without telling me it had as well, just for good measure. Couldn't hear anything. I don't know what you guys were just saying. Where are we up to?
We're talking about Click.
Yeah, he's a free agent on the 19th of October. And if
Bring
we're looking in the experienced kind of midfielder market, and we're looking at that Kramer who's 33, Einar was saying in the comments.
Cheers, Michael.
Yeah, keeping it going. I think if you're looking at that type of player, just bring Click back.
I think so too. I'm not going to sit here and wax lyrical and say he's going to be the best midfielder in the Championship or out like that. He's older now. He wasn't at the peak of his powers when he left, but I still believe there's more than enough there in him to do the job we need.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'd even put him down as a starter if I'm being honest, and get a good 70 minutes out of him, 60 minutes.
Might have to at this point, Karl.
Yeah, but I think I know it's cliche. He knows the club, knows the fans, but he's genuinely the type of player that we're actually looking for.
Aina says Click is in form. His pre-season is the MLS. So yeah, getting ready to go.
I like that. Good man,
The number
Aina,
43 is available.
Oh,
is it?
Perfect.
lads,
It's
it's
meant
written
to
in the
be.
stars. It's written
We've
in the
fixed
stars.
everything here. We've fixed everything. As we do on this podcast, Carl. We fix football. We fix Leeds United. That's what we do.
Should we go back to where we were? The goal? I think we're up to the second goal.
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
I mean, the build-up was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was lovely, wasn't it? It was a nice move.
It was from start to finish that was just nice. Willie is... I'm so glad that they've kind of made a point of making him the main man, if I'm being honest. You know,
Willie is standing up.
Yeah, during the kit launch for the yellow kit, and I'm not going to get into your innuendo, Jay, where they gave him the camera during the team photo thing and stuff like that. You know, it's like you can see it in his face as well. He's not whinging at the refs as much, which I have noticed. Only a little bit, but
I'm
not
okay
as
with
much.
a little.
He's also, when he's had 2 clear fouls where it could have been penalties, and he's decided to get back up again and have a go, and he did it again Friday night against Sunderland. So I think it's good to see Willie in that kind of form now, and the fact that he's actually really looks like he's enjoying his football again.
Yeah.
And he's kind of out under the spotlight of Cree and Georgie as well. You know, he's got Ramazani there next to him now, who seems to have struck up a good partnership when he comes inside in the middle to try and influence the game a little bit more. We saw that quite a bit, where him and Aronson were swapping back and forth on the wing. And I be honest with you, I think Willie down the middle is absolutely brilliant, and he's lethal. Like, he can find them little passes, and his link-up play with his first touch pass and all that is very good. Like, so
I think he's really good at that. He's underrated, in fact. Like, wasn't it Willie that did the little through ball for the goal against Norwich?
To Ramazani,
perfectly pass. He's really good at stuff like that.
I mean, he assisted both goals. So
yeah, with this thing,
he's having a great season so far. He looks like the Willie we first signed.
Yeah, he does. He genuinely looks like he's back to that kind of footballer that we that got us off our seats the first time he signed. You know, and I like on FootMob he got an 8.4, so he was man of the match.
Yeah,
you know,
that's good.
That's
I would probably give him
that.
man of the match, to be fair. So I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Do you think that they've said something to him along the lines of stay and we'll build a team around you, we'll make you the main man? Or do you think they've said something along the lines of maybe that, but also sign a new deal, and then if we don't go up, you can go and we'll get decent money for you? Do you think they've said something like that? Or do you think he just really wants to be here now?
I think he just really wants to be here now. I think it's a case that you could be right that he's had that assurance that if we don't go up, then they won't stand in his way, or whatever the case may be. But they also probably won't stand in the way of a shite bid, so it'll be for good money, you know.
Oh God, yeah, that's the whole point, though, isn't it? Of no release clauses that they made a big song and dance about. We can dictate now if we do agree to let the lad go. At least it's on our terms.
Yeah, that's it. I think
that Ruta thing pulled the rug out from under Farker, didn't it?
Yeah. Yep. Well, like he was saying to them that you back in January that you need to be looking for replacements for Georgie and Cree just in case, like, and
he must be fuming at the board to a degree.
The number 10, like, you know what I mean, is still a big loss, even though Aronson's doing quite well. It's just one of them where you're like, if you fucking had that, But now you've got Willie swapping in and out with Aronson. I don't know if it's such a big issue anymore.
Maybe not. Do you think, Matt, that we go back for Hamer in January, or do you think that was just a publicity stunt / upset Chris Wilder thing?
I don't think we do. I don't think that was a thing. I don't know. I don't really care. Hamer? Do we really want Hamer?
You don't want him?
No, not really. I mean, we got we got our
we got Aronson.
We got Aronson. and then we got Hero.
Yeah, we don't want Hamer at all, do we, Matt?
Yeah, you're really selling here, Matt.
I know, yeah. I will say, Karl, I thought Aronson had a fairly decent game again.
Yeah, I think he's. I think once he kind of got over, well, I think fans and him, once we got over the whole boo boy kind of scenario, He's started to really come into his own. I think one of the detriments, I think, to him at the moment is that the USA are playing absolute dog dirt, and his confidence probably will take a hit going to play with them at the moment. Now, in saying that, they do have Pochettino now in charge, so that could also be a very good thing for Aronson to go and play with a manager that has that kind of influence on a player that can really re-energize them and get them back to what they were.
Almost like a Bielsa type manager. Also, almost like a Bielsa type manager.
Yeah, but I also think it'd be a good thing for Leeds United as if he's going away for international duty and he's actually getting coached by someone who's very capable of coaching players at that level. So it'll help us in the long run. But I just think another 2-week break for internationals has come at maybe the wrong time for us.
Who's going? Tanaka, because I know he's playing. I know he's playing Australia. So
I think that's for you, that Karl.
Bad.
Smarty says full international Italian, not Irish.
I don't play international football, so I don't know what he's talking about.
Isn't Joseph going? Joseph's going, isn't he?
Yeah, Joseph's going. Charlie Crew's been called up.
I'm worried there's going to be like a knock or someone's going to get a knock.
Yeah, Tanaka. I'd be more worried about Aronson and Tanaka going and getting a knock than anything else.
I think Aronson would be. I mean, Dan James is coming back, isn't he? Or is that like not confirmed that he'll be back by Sheffield United?
It was said that he'd be back after the international break, but this is Leeds United, and we don't believe it until we see him on the pitch, do we?
I mean, I don't trust our medical team, to be honest.
I'm not sure they know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, they'll be out for a month. Oh, actually,
2 years.
6 months later.
Look at it this way, lads, right? On the 2nd of November, when we play Plymouth at home, we could be looking at Clicky in the 43 shirt, you know what I mean? So it's not all lost at the moment.
Not everybody's happy about that. We had a comment from Easy B who said that he's finished. So,
he's not finished.
I mean, like I said, he's probably not going to be quite what he was, but when you've got no fucking subs in midfield...
He's championship level.
Gotta be.
You can say. I mean, I said this before when you weren't here, but like when we let him go, he was still doing well in the Premier League when he came on. He wasn't doing bad. Like he still could do it for us.
He's still got a shot on him.
Yeah, he's still got a. I mean, we need someone that can take a free kick.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you're shopping in a normal transfer window for a player, you're probably looking at someone with a higher ceiling than him and a bit younger. Do you know what I mean? But when you're in a situation we're in, you have to kind of react to that, don't you? You can't. Just, you know, who else are we going to get? You've got to get people that are out of contract if you're getting them now, or January, you've got to get people that are either willing to come or the clubs are willing to let them go. It's you know, it's not the summer transfer window. It's not the same situation.
I saw a tweet. Someone said something about, why are our backup keepers so bad? Basically, like, and I'm like, we're in the championship. You're not the only way you're gonna have a good backup keeper is if they're through your academy. You're not gonna buy a good backup keeper in the Premier League. Look at that. Yeah. Barely teams have good backups. Well, they have decent.
Exactly.
Backup. This is what worries me.
To the championship.
Yeah, this is what worries me about the international break. USA play Mexico early Wednesday before we play Blunts on Friday, and Japan playing Australia on Tuesday before the game.
That's the one that worries me, the Japan
That's
one.
what worries me, like, is that the Wednesday game for the US and then the Tuesday game for bleeding Japan, like...
yeah, Tanaka's flying all that way.
Yeah,
Tanaka can just not play, please.
Yeah,
He'll be Tanaka.
He's still going to be jet-lagged, isn't he? That's the other problem. Like,
Tanaka.
Russ has put in the chat there as well. Leeds United have 7 players away on international duty.
Oh, Rodon.
Darlow, Rodon, Crew, Tanaka, Nanto, Aronson, Joseph.
Can we just keep Rodon at home? Can we just say he's injured? Just say he's got like a knock.
Can't we like lock him in the training ground or something? Like the groundsman just goes home with keys by accident.
Yeah.
When do Wales play? Is that like towards Sheffield Wednesday United?
I couldn't tell you.
Because if he doesn't play, then we got to put in probably DeBio. Do that.
Oh God! I'm trying to see when they play.
can't see. Oh, Wales play on Bleeding Monday against Montenegro, so that'll be their final game. So that's not too bad.
There you go, Karl. You're a lot of playing Thursday.
You are?
Belgians. You're a lot of playing Thursday against them Belgians.
Yeah.
Or is it Ireland away at Finland that you'll be watching?
I'll watch both of them.
Picture in picture.
Yeah.
Right. We've gone on a tangent here. I think we've pretty much discussed the game of death, so I'm going to rifle through these comments and we'll wrap this one up.
I'm sure people are fed up listening to us.
Probably. That probably happened about a minute in, to be fair.
Yeah.
Steve Brown says, am I overreacting by being disappointed at Firpo's antics at the end of the game? We win, lose and draw as a team. In my opinion, he should have stayed with the team to applaud the fans who were superb all game. I think we discussed that, didn't we?
Yeah. I think it could be, like we said earlier, it could be a number of things. Not just...
Happy to see the passion, but I get what people are saying.
Yeah.
Paul Brennan says, I don't think Sunderland will drop away. There might be dark horses. At least we didn't get beat, which is a good point, but I still think there might be last season's Preston.
Yeah, I said that ages ago, yeah. I said they'd beat Preston this year.
What do you reckon, Matt? Do you think they'll fall away?
I mean, you don't know really, but I mean, I hope, to be honest, for our sake. But
unless you've got an exceptional squad like Leicester or a freak team like Ipswich, you don't tend to start well and stay. You tend to see teams start well and fall off, and then teams build slowly. And
depends on injuries and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not too bothered at the moment. It's early doors. Still early.
Yeah. We need to be careful, though. We can't have too blasé an attitude to dropping points.
No, not at all. But at the same time, no one started running away with it, so there's not really much to be kind of worried about. Like Burnley drew yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, we've not lost ground, have we, really?
No. Like Blackburn were up there, they lost yesterday. Middlesbrough lost 2-1. West Brom drew.
Yeah, that comes in what we were saying before about the even spread through a division as well. Though. We beat Coventry convincingly, then they went and beat Blackburn, didn't they, the week after, who hadn't been beat at that point.
That's it.
It's just, it's crazy. We got one from Smarty. He says, he's not a starter, but Rothwell is a very capable, good addition to our squad. Fuck Gilly the Onion. I hadn't read all that before I started. That's it. I love that. That fucking bald onion. Scooby D2 says Blades level on points with Mackems and Baggy's still up there. I think Bryn also made a comment about Sheffield United would probably be top or something if they'd not had the deduction, so they would be clear. But even then, it'd only be by a couple, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be a runaway.
Only be by 2 points.
Wouldn't be a runaway side.
Like.
Are you worried about Sheffield United, Matt?
I mean, I think they'll be up there. I think we'll be top two. I think Sheffield United, Leeds will be top two. And then I think playoffs, I could see West Brom.
I think I did a bet at the start of the season, and I just did a double for both Leeds and Wrexham to be top two.
Did you? That's a good shout,
Oh, Jesus. My throat is killing me. Right, Lee Fryer, our local Andy's Man Club geezer. Good lad. He says, on the back of the last pod, I just can't see Farke signing anyone on a free. Think he'll try coping till January with what we have, and that could be costly for our ambitions. I mean, unless it's someone exceptional, then it's not worth signing someone on free, is it? We don't just want anyone. We need people, but they've got to be capable.
Yeah. I mean, would you put that on Farke or the 49ers?
More 49ers for me, because,
Yeah, they're the ones bringing them in.
Purse strings, yeah.
That's why I'm saying, he's out of contract. All it's going to cost you is a signing on fee and a wage. The wages won't be that much.
No, I can't imagine he'd even ask for much. He'd just be happy to come back here, I reckon. Can you hear me?
I think so, yeah. Finish off what he properly started, Imagine if he came back and got us promoted again.
What does he need, like 5 games? 5 games for 200?
Say what?
Oh, yeah.
He was about to hit his milestone, and then he got...
Yeah, he was.
He got binned off.
Then he got Jesse Marshed.
Yeah, he said he'd be back, didn't he? Said he'd be back to finish off what he the 200 games. This could be it. Like, let's get the rumor mill going here, right? Clicky come back in October. Make his first start against Plymouth at home on the 2nd of November.
Clicky
news
to be
will be
carried round Elland Road on fans' shoulders with championship trophy at the end of the
Oh,
season.
could you imagine singing the Clicky song again?
Oh, man.
Oh,
when he's
what a
actually
time
there.
that'd be. What a
can we bring
time that'd
Alioski
be.
back too?
Oh,
Just get them all back.
Just for one day for last game.
get the band back together.
Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
No.
Bryn Johnson, he says, positive Bryn. Can't fault Farker for Friday. Hopefully Schmidt is in team for Bogle and Darlow in for Sheffield United game. Darlow need DJ Solomon and a new CDM for the bench.
I forgot about Solomon, you know.
I'd agree with most of that, but I don't want Darlow in.
I don't want Darlow.
Even after a clanger, I still would pick Melier over Darlow. I just don't think Darlow's better. For all Melier's faults, he's still the better keeper for me.
The CDM thing, I'm still worried that Ampeter's going to come back and we're going to be like, nah, we're fine.
We don't want to rush him back though, do we? We don't want to be desperate and rush him back.
No, if something happens, who's next? Who's next in the midfield?
Crew,
isn't it?
Crew? I just don't think he'll start Crew because I don't think you'll put him in that situation.
Well, I made a good. Well, I like to think it was a good point on the pod there during the week. I think if we don't bring in a midfielder, Clicky, I think Fark's only options are to potentially move Stroke into midfield and play De Bayo at centre back with Rodon, simply because he's come out and said he very much trusts De Bayo to play and come in. Whereas he said Charlie Crew's development is coming along nicely.
Yeah.
So that says it all for me there. I think if anything happened, you'd push Strike into midfield and play him as a CDM, and then let De Bayo come in, because you still have Rodon there to help him out throughout the game, and you also have Strike there who can kind of talk to him and advise as well if he's playing a CDM role. So
but then you're unsettling a strong defence.
Yeah,
which is what we talked about on the main pod, didn't we?
Yeah, but if your midfielder is gone, and like we were saying there, it's a lot to put on. Like I think Bryn even said it, and I think it's one that I actually quite agree with Bryn there. Bryn, he basically said it's a lot of pressure to put on Charlie Crew's shoulders.
No, he's right. It is.
And he's right, like, and I think there it is there. So he's basically said we need to sign someone now, get them up to speed for December. But if we bring in Click, he's already up to speed. He's just finished his season. Then we will need to make subs and rotate. A lot of pressure on Crew as it stands. I think that's very true, you know.
Well, obviously the club watches us, so they'll listen to this and they'll go out and get him.
Close attention to the likes of us on a Sunday morning.
I think so. Yeah, I think Barker's in bed right now with his. He's got his little his breakfast and stuff, his continental meats and a bit of yogurt and some fruit, and he's watching us. And he's like,
coffee cake, man. He likes a coffee
these
cake,
lads are
doesn't
spot on. Yeah. He's there saying, it's right good. This. That's what Farker's saying.
Right good. This.
Michael Gott says Farker can't drop mess. Got to stick with him. That will crush his confidence. All the lads need to get around him and support him. I'd agree with that. It's happened now. It's done.
At full time, like even when they showed Mez, no one went up to him really, or they didn't show it on camera. I think the close person
were bollocking him to me.
The only person that looked like they went near him was Bamford, and that's about it.
He's like,
a few went over to him now. I did see a few go over.
I think it's when the camera might have went off him, so maybe they did. Yeah.
Bamford were like, "Don't worry, kid. I've got experience in this field. It's fine. Bring it in.
Just don't look at Twitter, please."
And then he's behind him going, "Someone else has fucked."
Yes, not me.
Yeah, it's not me anymore.
Bryn says here.
Go on, man. Go on.
Go on. This one. Click's contract doesn't expire until 31st of December. Yeah. But the season ends on the 19th of October. And unless I think they need to win their last two games to qualify for the playoffs. So 19th of December, free agent then, really.
And if he's leaving, it's not going to be that hard to get released if he wants to go.
Yeah. Beckham did it.
He'll just be happy to save money if he wants to go.
Milan, didn't he? Yeah.
Wayne Macy says, I watched Gary Sprake do that more than once. He's even older than us then, Karl.
Cup final, didn't he? 72 or 73 cup final. There you go.
Paul Brennan, respect to Daniel Farker for starting Joe Pirou, who scored again, and a rare goal by Junior Firpo. Lads played well. Ao Tanaka and Joe Rothwell are a good partnership, ready to blossom. Can't argue with that one, mate. Spot on as always. Another one from Paul. He says, Daniel Farker's man management, Nige D, is very good. It's always about his players. Never takes the praise. He just wants his players to be comfortable and happy. I'd go.
I saw people saying people say stuff on Twitter like, "Oh, Fox shouldn't be saying Melly is the best keeper in the world." What do you want him to say? Oh, he's shit. Like, what do you want him to come out and say? Like,
yeah, he's crap, and tonight we're gonna all beat crap out of him. We're gonna all get some socks full of sand in changing room and teach him a lesson. Prison rules.
Yeah.
Easy B says Rothwell is the best player on the pitch. In fact, I prefer the midfield two we had against Sunderland than Ampadu and Gruev because Tanaka and Rothwell are more progressive. Oh, that's controversial. Is that?
I disagree.
Controversial.
That's a good talking point for the main pod, that, isn't it?
It is definitely. It might get put in shit take of the week though, depending who picks it up.
Yeah.
This whole Rothwell goes further forward. I mean, Gruev was doing that this season. Like, people acting like Gruev was playing back and not attacking.
I'd agree with you on that, but Rothwell does seem a bit more dynamic going forward than Gruev. Like, he's looking to shoot more for me and stuff. But I get what you're saying. Gruev was doing that. Absolutely. We got one final comment here from Positive Bryn again. He says, Nonto has a higher ceiling than Ruta and Somerville. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's good. That's one of those that's going to be a time will tell for me, I think.
Do you think is it one of them? I like going off how he's playing at the moment. I think it's very much the case for me.
Recency bias, mate.
Maybe
because the other guys are not here now, and we're watching him do well. It's like, oh, he's fucking awesome. This guy is great. He's going to go all the way. That's all what we do, innit? But
right, I'll put it to you this way.
It's hard to know.
I'll put it to you this way, right? Just to try and throw a cat amongst the pigeons, right?
I mean, I'm trying to wrap us up, but go on.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. Right? So last season there was James and Somerville started out because Nanto kicked his stink up and wanted to move.
Oh yeah.
So he was always trying to work his way back in. He never felt like the first choice starter last season.
Yeah,
because anytime Dan James was fit, he played. And anytime, Somerville fit, he played.
Yeah, I get it.
So I think this season he knows that no matter who is fit or not, he's always going to play. And I think that's the reason he's looking the way he's looking at the moment. I think that's why Bryn would say that he has got a higher ceiling than the other two, because he's had to work last season to get to where he, to get in the side. And at points last year, he was undroppable. So that for me, I definitely think he has a higher ceiling than the other two. And at the
is that because he's Italian?
No, at the moment it's because the other two haven't really performed to the standard that everyone expected them to at Brighton and West Ham.
I didn't expect either of them to just hit the ground and be what they were. It's going to take time. But,
time will tell.
That was a shit move anyway, West Ham, for Somerville. He should never have gone there. He's absolutely poleaxed his career going there because they're going to be shit. That means he's going to be shit because he's playing a shit team. How much can you really do as a player who's come from Championship into a Premier League team and they're shit?
Yeah.
And you've got David Moyes as your manager.
No, it's not David Moyes, is it?
I know it's not. He went, didn't he, last year?
Lopetegui, even worse.
Yeah, that's right. My brain is just not with me today. It's because people in our chat keep calling for Moyes to replace Farker.
Oh, that's and on that note,
yeah, I think that's probably the end of it at that point. Yeah. Next game, I think it's Sheffield United at home, isn't it? After the national break.
Friday night under the lights.
Yeah, I'm going to go get pissed up for that and cause some trouble. But yeah, thanks for coming on, Matt. And we'll be back next week as usual. We'll have the main pod. Obviously, no B&C because there's no game. And we will see you then. Thanks for coming on, Karl, and keeping me company as always. And cheers to everyone that's commented and watched. And come back for more if you didn't get driven away by this drivel today. Like and subscribe. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.